It's a shame that I really have to say this now, that BBTAG 2.0 story mode is like 10 times better than the first 4 we got when the game came out. Because the game came out with 4 episodes. It came out one based on BlazBlue, one on Persona 4 Arena, one on RWBY, and one on Under Night. And those episodes they were missing something. They were missing heart. They had like no heart, no joy. There was some moments that were fun, but it just felt empty. There was like no enjoyment. It felt like it was just, yeah, we have to put a story mode here because we've been making story modes for our games, so we kind of have to put them in there. Nah, it just didn't feel like that. But when BBTAG 2.0's second story mode came out, that's what I really wanted for when the game actually came out. I told myself that I hope that BBTAG 2 Cross That Battle, when it came out on launch, that its story mode would be more of a humorous one. It'd be crazy. It would be, funny as hell. They would take advantage of the crossover aspect to make a lot of humor. There was 2 problems, actually, there's more problems, but 2 problems I mostly see in the original story mode. One, there wasn't enough characters to take advantage of the craziness factor. I mean, there was. There was the original 20, plus Blake and Yang, so it makes up the 22, plus all the rest of the characters that were DLC, which, were on the disc playable, but I digress. It's just, and the second problem is that they didn't really take advantage of the silliness aspect. They didn't really try, really. They were just like, oh no, these characters are interacting with other characters, we gotta make it semi-serious, moving on. And I felt like as though, BlazBlue itself is a series that had a lot of experience of doing gag reels and whatnot. And I'm surprised they didn't take that, it took them to the second episode to take that approach. I don't know if they were waiting to a good amount of characters to do so, because in 2.0, they use every character in the story mode. And funny enough, the story mode itself is actually not that long. And somehow they able to make it a lot better than the first 4 story modes that were an hour each. So there was like no excuse, because like the story modes are like relatively kind of boring, to be honest. Because one thing is that they don't have really any portraits, any portraits of movement. They only use the same portraits from the character select screen, which I've griped about enough. And they didn't change it for 2.0, but I mean, hell, I can tolerate it there because, I mean, they actually did something with the humor, so it made me ignore the character portraits. But base BBTAG story mode is really boring, especially with the character portraits. Now, I wasn't expecting them to draw new portraits for every character. I really wasn't expecting that, but I wasn't expecting them to just to get lazy and reuse the ones that, we have from the character select screen. And that sucks. It really does suck. But it ain't the worst thing I've seen. I mean, hell, Under Night got the same thing too, and all they do is change the faces. That's what they did for BB tags. I mean, well, they didn't use the same ones for Under Night. They drew one portrait and a new face for it every time they want to show emotion. But like, and the one thing I don't like about that is that they don't emote, they don't talk like they do in BlazBlue. They don't have no mouth movements. They don't do that in BBTAG 2.0 either, and that kind of sucks. But I guess it's a cheap way to let it go. I don't know. It was a cheap way, really, of doing things. I mean, hell, a mouth movement would have helped. But anyway, where was I? Yeah. The first 4 BlazBlue Cross That Battle episodes were incredibly boring. Like, the one I'd say was the worst of all of it had to have been just the BlazBlue one, because at least for actually not even that. The only reason I gave and I'm explaining that. Okay, so BlazBlue's one, it was meh. It really was. There was like nothing going on there, really. I mean, you got Ragnar going around doing things, but it just wasn't. It didn't play up the humor factor that Ragnar would be around these wacky characters, except maybe the new and the Robot Girl ones. That was the only one I felt like that was actually funny, mainly because of Patrick Sykes' delivery. Then you got Persona, and the Persona one it has its moments, but it's incredibly dull to me. The only saving graces I got for it is the ending. And that's about it. The ending where, they show that all the, Ragnar, Hyde, and RWBY, they were in Yasagami High. And that was the only saving grace of that episode. It wasn't boring, but I feel like the BlazBlue one was worse because they didn't even try. I feel like they didn't even try. At least with the Persona 1, they tried some semblance of humor. Under Night, I don't know how to feel about the Under Night one because that wasn't really interesting either, and I didn't even really like the ending all that much, though it was funny that, you know, they had to, like, pretty much do the whole tournament again. I do like the Hyde's characterization in the Under Night story mode, because it's just like, he's like, oh my god, I can't believe I can't deal with this. Like, he just can't deal with it, and it makes me laugh. He's just deadpan most of the time, and I like it. That was the saving grace, just because of Hyde's, you know, attitude towards it all. And I feel like the RWBY one was the best one, mostly because of how funny RWBY was compared to everyone else. Like, she has to, like, everyone has to deal with her, you know, being more eccentric than them. And then RWBY's the one, you know, doing the silly things and crap like that. I like that. I feel like the RWBY one was the best one because I felt like they tried with that one. But and then you get the secret ending, but that's... I don't like the fact that it has branching endings just to make it seem like you got more playability out of it. And some of the secret endings are kind of stupid because you could accidentally, you know, get it wrong. Like, I had to look up a guide on this crap, and yeah. And like, a sad thing, you have to beat the story mode first, then beat the other story modes, then come back to BlazBlues, do it again, beat that, get that ending, beat it again, get that ending, beat it again, get the true ending. Like, it's... And the only way to really get the true ending all that well is that you have to beat the mode first, then beat the other beat the other 3, then come back, and it's not fun at all. And some of these secret endings aren't even that interesting. I mean, yeah, one of the secret endings, it leads into BlazBlue Cross About 2.0, which, okay, because, you know, Hosma and the Keystone, etc., etc. Then you got the one that ending off where it just shows that Rachel just paid S off of Pudding. Haha. Like, I swear, it would have been a lot better if they had some kind of build up to that one. I mean, granted, it's a silly story mode. It really doesn't have any build up if you don't want to. But I personally just found it, like, lacking. Then you get the true ending, and yeah. Oh, there was that ending where, you know, Noelle was, like, asleep. You know, they escaped, and... Okay. Then you get the actual true ending where everybody, you know, saves the day. You know, Rogden teams up with a member, you know, teams up with either you or Hyde or RWBY, and yeah, there's that. But it's just the modes weren't interesting enough. They didn't. It's like it just felt like just weak, man. You know, it just felt like there could have been more done with it. And I feel like that's where BlazBlue Cross That Battle 2.0 story mode shines, because they actually play up the humor factor a lot. They actually go, you know, deeper within the character interactions. They really do. Like, the whole story mode is based around the character interactions, because with the original story mode, it just felt like they wanted to make a big story and have all these characters in it, but didn't know what kind of story mode they wanted, because, you know, having all these characters run around meant kind of nothing. But then in 2.0, it's like, okay, now it was on an excuse just to find stamps. Everyone's gonna go find these little stamps, and that's it. That's all you really need to know for the story mode. And then Susanoo comes out of nowhere, because he's the final boss. We have to have a final boss, because why not? And I like that a lot more. I mean, yeah, Susanoo was worthless, and he really didn't talk, which kind of sucks, and he really didn't have anything to do with the story mode, but I guess he was just there for Ragna and Naoto to team up to fight. Like, it was still a cool moment, though. You know, Susanoo was worthless, but it was a cool moment. But I just personally felt like something could have been done more with the original story mode, especially when you have 4 of them. But with 2.0, it was great. It was great. They used every character in the goddamn story mode. And then, granted, some of them weren't even there long, but for the short length of the story mode, they actually used the characters to great effect. It's like, you got Elizabeth and Neo working together, which I find hilarious, because Elizabeth just, like, she can understand Neo, but at the same time, you just can't. And everyone else is like, how can you even hear her? How can you hear her talk like that? And then you got, like, it's just, I like it. I just like the characters interacting more. You know, like, there was, like, the whole Naoto meeting Yumi in the bathhouse thing. There was the Nine and Jubei, you know, relationship stuff. It was great. Hell, there was like an even small heartwarming one with Mitsuru and Akihiko talking, and they meet Akatsuki, and they all become friends. I like that. Like, really, that's And the funny thing about it is, like, this story mode really doesn't have Ragnar in it. Like, he's not even the main character. He really doesn't show up until the end of it. And I find it funny that the main BlazBlue character doesn't show up to the very end. I find it hilarious, because everyone else at least has some kind of part to play. I mean, hell, you got the one with the Jin and Weiss working together, which is the only interaction we're ever going to get with them in this game. And they're working together, and Yumi and Teddy working together on some kind of ice race, and I like that. It was simple, but I liked it. There was the one with Labris and crap, what was it? Labris, Aegis, and Minerva, and they were all trying to seduce Yosuke, and I like that. Like those were good moments. Like, there were so many funny and hype moments that it just makes the original BBTAG story mode look lame in comparison. There's nothing to enjoy there. There's like no soul. There's no enjoyment there. But 2.0's was great. That's what I originally wanted when Cross Tag came out. That's like, it was that simple. It was that simple. But yeah, if BBTAG ever gets updated, I don't know if they're ever going to mess with this game anymore. I doubt they're gonna add another story mode to it, but if they did, that'd be great. But if they ever somehow did this again, I would prefer if it was just more of a humorous, funny take on this. Because, like, the original one was really, really lame. It was bad. Like, it wasn't a terrible story mode by any means. It wasn't terrible. But it was meh. And it's the sad thing about it, you get this one story mode which did great compared to the original 4 that just didn't do anything. It's just, Like, as I said before, the only one I really enjoyed from the original BBTAG story mode was the RWBY episode. That's because of RWBY herself. And then you get the Undernight High. Like, the Blaze one was the weakest one, because I feel like Ragnar of all people would have been, like, the one that, interacting with the characters and, create more silly situations. But it really wasn't. It just didn't feel like... It was worth anything. Like, it felt like Mori wanted to tell a story, but just couldn't all the way, Like, this whole Keystone nonsense literally couldn't have happened. They could have just made a whole story mode goofing off, and then the system, because it would work better if they played off the system's silliness. Because everybody wants to get home, but like, it should have been more like the system acts silly, everyone acts silly, no one knows what to do, they fight the system, and then on top of that, you gotta battle the system every time you play one of those story modes, and on top of that, you gotta do it again. Like, you gotta fight the system in BlazBlues, then Persona, then Undernights, then Rubies, then then BlazBlues again. Like, not even get BlazBlues again, because you have to fight the system like what? For every ending, you have to fight the system again. So that's like, you have to fight the system like 4 times, and not even 4, yeah, because there was the one with the Noelle ending, then there was the S pudding one, then there was the true ending, and then it was the yeah, probably like 3 times. Because it's like, there was the Hosma one, I think, like, ended prematurely. I might be wrong, but I think you have to do it 3 or 4 times. It's been a while. Like, I don't even want to go to that story mode again because I hate doing it. But yeah, and at least with 2.0, you have to fight the system. The systems are still there, but she's kind of wrecked, so you gotta fight Susanoo. Now, I'm glad they didn't have to fight the system again. I mean, I like the theme of the system, but damn, that boss sucks. But as I said before, yeah, I like 2.0 story mode more. It's just, it felt like they recognized the criticisms that were happening from the original story mode and just capitalizing. And I'm glad they did that. And I just wish that the original story mode did that. I really did.